Hey YouTubers, I'm working on this GE washer. It's probably only about 3 years old. The seal underneath the washer has failed. And in turn, you can see all that rust in there. All that rust is coming from the transmission. So the transmission is shot as well. So I've got to disassemble this thing and figure out what needs to be replaced. Clearly the transmission mechanism, I don't know if the shifter, which is that plug thing you see there, that may need to be replaced. It's functioning, but it's making a heck of a racket because the bearings are shot due to the water. So there are no videos on the transmission replacement, and I believe the seal can be replaced from the top of the tub. So I'm going to start to disassemble this machine and walk you through it. First thing is this front panel comes off. There's two clips, you push them in. You find anybody's video, they'll show you how to take the panel off. The panel pulls away. And then you take these two screws out, 1 and 2, and this panel lifts up. What I did was unscrewed the lid switch mechanism because I couldn't get at the harness and I didn't want to unplug it and damage it. So I disconnected it that way and unplugged the harness that you see in there, and then the switch, this is the lid switch, it pops out. Push that little tab right here and this will pop out. Now I can take the top off, and with the top off then I can start working on disassembling, not good for the top, disassembling the machine. Water hoses, pumps, etc. will get disconnected and this bracket will come off and the whole thing will this whole setup will come out. Then I can flip it upside down and start working on it. I'll walk you through it. Alrighty, the unit is out. First thing that came out was the agitator. There's a 3/8 screw down there. It lifts straight off the shaft. After the agitator is off, this nut and this washer come off of the transmission. I could not pull the inner tub out. Try as I may, it wasn't coming out. So I'm going to attempt it from this side. But in the meantime, to get this out, I removed the pump hose. Disconnected all these little clips that run up the side of the machine so I have some wire to work with. Got it flipped upside down. Now I can see these connectors and disassemble them without damaging them. To get it off of these suspension rods, basically I lift it up on the tub, and then once it clears this socket, this wire, or this part of the rod, will slide right through here. I did the two front first, then I kind of tilted the tub towards me and was able to reach back there and handle those two and get them out. Took a little bit of work, but it comes out. So now I've got this to work with. I'll get back to you. I'm working on getting the inner tub out. Spanner wrench, eBay. You can find one for about $7. I don't know how you're going to get it off without one. The nut came off really hard. It's a left-handed thread, so it would be lefty or righty-loosey versus the other way. And then this washer comes off, and then this little O-ring is in there as well. Hard to see, but I took that off as well. The tub would not come out. You couldn't pull it out, whether it's attached to the machine or sitting here freehand trying to get it out. So the setup is a jack underneath, cut a 2x4 to length, and it popped right up. The O-ring is a must because I didn't realize the O-ring was in there, and it won't clear it unless the O-ring is removed. Alrighty, YouTubers, the old transmission is out. They call this thing like a support plate or something. I call it a transmission. It came in the mail as a gear case. When this unit came out, this gasket was on here, and clearly it was not on correctly. I did not get a new gasket with the new machine. I don't know if it's required. I didn't see anything in the parts breakdown. I'm sure that's the cause of the leak. In any event, there are a couple of washers. Pay attention to when they came off and when they came on.
This washer was on here. It's kind of rusty. I got it off. And then I actually forgot the sequence, but I'm going to look it up online. The new transmission, put a little dish soap, laundry detergent in there, liquid, and slip this into place. Once the unit is in place, I'm going to flip this over so we can have a peek. Bear with me. Okay. You're going to have to mount your new motor or your old motor. Okay, and on the old transmission, bear with me again, you're going to have to remove your shifter and obviously any parts in there that are going to come off of that shaft, and put this all back on that unit, and then you can set it all up and get her running again. This stuff came off and was switched quite easily. It's pretty self-explanatory. This gear comes off. It pops up and down. It's got a spring underneath. It's in the down position, or it looks down from here. That's a up position. This is a nylon nut for this. I just held onto the wheel, unscrewed it, and held onto it as I torqued it down. All of these bolts here, even though it's going into plastic, it took a little bit of, they take a little bit of torque, but don't overdo it. You don't want to strip them. The bolts that hold the shifter down are not tapped. So take your screw and your ratchet or whatever you're using and start them before you attempt to put the shifter in. And pay attention to where your shifter goes. If you mount the electrical over here, you're screwed. It's got to be on this side. So if you do it backwards, you obviously got to take it apart and redo it. So make sure you get all your connections on the correct side. Take photos before you take stuff apart in case you don't remember. Everything's assembled. I'm going to drop it back into the unit and go from there. All right, the tub is hanging on all the suspending rods. They just kind of snap. Got to raise it up high enough so this rod can snap through that slot and it'll all be on there nice. Going to reconnect the drain. Got to reconnect the vent or the pressure tube, and going to put the agitator back in. The agitator goes in like this. First, this O-ring goes over the shaft, then one of these spacers, then the inner tub, then the other spacer over here. On top of that was the washer. I'm sorry, these two go first. The tub goes in. Once the tub is in, these two will go in this order, and you're going to finish with this nut. Wash cycle, everything's working great. No leaks. Air nice and dry underneath. Very nice running washer.
Alrighty, the unit's fixed, working good. Here's some part numbers. PartsDoctor.com is where I bought it. WH26X22784, paid $84, which included shipping. I cross-referenced it a bunch of different ways. It comes up as a different part number and different names. The actual part number, if you go onto like Sears.com and get a breakdown of the unit, you'll get this part number. But if I went onto Parts Doctor and put in the model number of the machine, I would get this part number. They're the same thing. They go for about $80, give or take, depending on where you buy it. Hope the video helps. Thanks for watching.